Hello, it's me, Ethan, here to give you a quick little life update video as well as a little follower Q&A to celebrate getting to 10,000 subscribers. I'm slow, don't look at me. This is just going to be a little off-the-cuff update video where I go through what I'm working on over the next couple of weeks, months, etc, as well as answering some questions that you guys have left me in the comments. Not the comments here, in another video that's taken down because it's no longer relevant anymore, but probably the first little update that I'm going to go into that people have been asking about is the future of streams. You know, when are they going to happen, how are they going to happen, etc, because if you've been paying attention, I haven't done one of those in a while, and they certainly haven't been as frequent as they used to be. The rationale I have as to why these have been a bit slow over the past couple of weeks is the same rationale that most people in the quote-unquote content creation space have, which is just the vague, amorphous concept of life stuff. I've been a busy boy. I want to get back into streaming again, but I think the most important thing for me is figuring out a way to stream which makes sense for me, quote-unquote. Because I'll be honest, streaming is a very difficult thing for me personally, which I know probably doesn't make sense given the, everything about me. But I have in the past found it difficult to, talk and do stuff at the same time and focus on making quips and jokes while also trying to paint Warhammer miniatures to an acceptable level of quality and worry about cameras and audio and and not only that, there's also been the added layers of discourse lately over, YouTube streaming versus Twitch streaming, horizontal streaming versus vertical streaming, what's best, what's worst, And I think my biggest takeaway in terms of that whole sphere is mostly just the fact that I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. When I do streaming, I want to sit down and have a fun time. I want to chat, I want to hang out, I want to be entertaining in a vague sense to a group of people. I don't really care about paying attention to analytics or viewer count or those kinds of things, So what I think is really going to work well for me is just sort of using streams as a kind of chill way to hang out, I think for future streams, I'm mostly going to be focused on, just painting Warhammer miniatures and chatting with people while I do it. I don't think I'm going to go too far into, stream graphics and pop-ups and, putting on a whole show and everything like that. And so I might just use streaming as a way to kind of record the raw footage of me painting Warhammer miniatures so that I can repurpose it for videos later. This also means that the sort of alt-fashion makeup and outfits and stuff is probably going to take a little bit of a backseat in those kinds of streams, but I also want to do some separate streams where I focus specifically on that side of my content as well. Basically, the rough way that I'm thinking about it is that, any vertical live streams that I do will be focused on, makeup, outfits, fashion, that kind of thing, where any horizontal streams that I do will mostly just be me, taking raw footage of my painting process so I can use that for Warhammer videos. This also means that those horizontal videos that I'll be taking of my Warhammer creation process, I am planning to multi-stream those across YouTube and Twitch, because the biggest thing that I've sort of, learned over the last couple of weeks is that I don't really care all that much about analytics and metrics and what have you, so wherever you want to watch those, you can watch those anywhere. That being said, however, live streams are probably going to take a little bit of a back seat towards the tail end of September, October, and, early November, that kind of thing, because I'm going to be traveling back to my home country of Australia to go to the Penny Arcade Expo, or just PAX. I don't think anyone calls it by its full name anymore. The fine people at PAX Australia have deigned to grace me with a special creator pass for the show, which will allow me to walk the show floor for pretty much the entire weekend, so if you're there at the show, say hi. Or don't, I'm not your dad. I'll also be, seeing family and other, stupid, boring things like that. But the most important takeaway there is that streams probably going to be a little less frequent over October, September, November, that kind of thing. Yeah. Outside of that, and also during the trip, I'm also going to be pretty busy working on the audiobook that I've been producing for the last couple of months now. You might have seen some of my short form videos about it, but yeah, I am writing and producing a fantasy, comedy, audiobook adventure, very D&D-esque, very much within my sort of like zone of humor that I've showcased in my other videos and things like that. So that's something that I'm really excited to be working on, and it's also something that's taking up a lot of my time. I don't know if you've ever written a book or produced an audiobook before, but yeah, it takes a long time, and it's also a lot of me listening to my own voice, which is a special kind of hell for me. Outside of that, I'm also having a ton of fun recording footage and jokes for a bunch of gameplay videos like I've posted over the past month or so. I'm a fair chunk of the way through editing a video about Super Kiwi 64, as you can see being played in the background, Crisis 2 for some reason, and well, the footage for this one actually corrupted, so I'm not really going to be able to do much with that. So, all things considered, I am a very, 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 very busy man these days. So, yeah, thank you all for sticking around and watching videos and liking my stuff. Alright, I think that's enough of me yapping on for now. Let's move on to some audience questions. Question number 1, Bloons Tower Defense 6, stream when? Ugh, I'm never beating the Bloons Boy allegations. So when it comes to game streams specifically, I kinda gotta be honest and say I don't think this is anything I'm really gonna be considering anytime soon. And the reason for that is that my primary gaming computer is a Steam Deck. It's a Steam Deck. It's a tiny little handheld portable computer, which is a ton of fun, but doesn't really have the grunt or lift required to, you know, handle high kbps, OMG, WTF streaming technology, for lack of a better term there. I've tried doing a couple of game streams in the past, basically by hooking up my Steam Link to my laptop, which is old and shitty in its own right, via an HDMI cable, and for some reason, anytime I try to do that, something explodes beyond repair. I'm not kidding, I've had to send my Steam Deck back to Valve in Washington to get fixed because it just wouldn't recognize the fact that it had a battery connected to it. And look, I have no proof that that had anything to do with me trying to stream on the handful of times that I did, but I got a feeling. So for streaming in general, I think I'm mostly just gonna stick to my Warhammer painting or my, you know, fashion and outfit kind of stuff. I also just think that's more conducive to the way I like to stream as well. Listen, I like to play very overstimulating games, and it's hard to carry on a conversation when I'm also trying to shoot bullets and avoid bullets being shot at me. Yes, I realize that Super Kiwi 64 in the background is not a very good example of this, but Question number 2, will we get more orc lore? Yes, 100%. I just need to finish painting the damn things. The reason I haven't done a new orc lore video in a while is for a couple of reasons. One, I've been spending a lot of time painting some bigger miniatures. I'm like 99% done with my Gazgul model, which, as I'm sure you can imagine, has taken a lot of time to do. And outside of that, I've also been painting some orc palette cleansers in my Space Marines, the Veteran Guard that I got from the Kill Team box set, etc, etc. I'm kind of doing that thing where I'm painting the early stages of a lot of different minis, so I'm starting a lot of projects but not really seeing any of them through to completion, so just give me some time, that's all I'll say. I'm sure pretty soon I'll have like 3 lore videos able to post back to back just because I finish a whole bunch of minis all at the same time because I'm, you know, kind of just jumping around on a lot of stuff and not really finishing anything. Which is kind of one of my biggest problems, but I'm choosing not to psychoanalyze that right now. Next question, what are the 2 wolves inside of you? I have a very basic and easy answer to this question. The first wolf is Hugh Laurie, and the second wolf is Hugh Laurie. Yes, it's my real name asks, what orc kits do you have? I think from memory, I mostly have the original Orc Combat Patrol, which is a bunch of boys, a bunch of Death Copters, a Death Dread, and a War Boss in Mega Armor. I've got my big man Gaz, that, as I said, I'm 95% complete in painting. I got a box of Storm Boys, I got a box of Mega Knobs, which is sitting on the floor, just waiting to be built and painted. I got a Dakka Jet that I got last Christmas, which I still haven't completed. A Megatrack Scrapjet, which I did a little bit of a video on my channel, which you can see the construction process of at least. I want to take some time to film the painting process for that one as well, fingers crossed. And then I also have the Commandos of the original Kill Team box set, which, again, are just sitting idle, waiting to be painted. That's a running theme for me. Oh, and also some Squig Hog Boys. I always forget about them, but I've been spending a lot of time working on those recently, so they might be the ones who are done the soonest? I shouldn't make promises on the internet that I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep or not. What's your favorite Pokemon? Electrode, because he was the easiest to draw in primary school. Next question. Have you tried Necromunda? The day that Necromunda was described to me as Warhammer meets Dungeons and Dragons, in the sense that it was, you know, a tabletop war game meets a narrative kind of long-form adventure, I was immediately interested. I've kind of been scoping it out a little bit, sort of asking myself who I might want to play if I was to play Necromunda. Right now I think either the Esches or the, who are they fucking, the Dwarves. The Esches of the Dwarves are the two sort of factions that I'm looking at right now because I think they're pretty cool. Like the Ironhead Squat Prospectors or something like that. The fucking Deep Rock Galactic guys. What steps did you take to become more confident on wearing non-gender conforming clothes? Part of it is practice and the other part is acclimatization, which I guess are both kind of the same thing. I think the number one thing that I learned in terms of, you know, fashion and expression and personal presentation and everything like that, I think the number one thing that I learned there was if you just lean into it, then you can't really go wrong. Like, obviously, when I first started doing that stuff, you know, I was very nervous. I was like, am I gonna be cringe? Am I gonna be weird? Are people gonna laugh at me or think I'm cringe? It was mostly the cringe stuff, let's be real. What I kind of learned is that it was kind of like skydiving or going down a big water slide. If you do that kind of stuff thinking that you're gonna have a bad time and you're gonna be terrified and you're gonna think it's shit, you're gonna think it's shit for pretty much the entire time that it's happening. But if you lean into it and go, this is something that I wanna do, this is something that I might think is fun or exciting or expressive, which mostly ties back to the fashion and not the skydiving metaphor. At some point, you gotta sort of let yourself have fun and give yourself permission to do the things that you enjoy. And that was kind of the biggest thing for me. Once I gave myself permission to enjoy dressing the way that I dress or expressing the way that I wanna express myself, then all of that anxiety and nervousness kind of just fell away. Also, the other thing that I learned is that people are gonna think you're cringe no matter what, so you might as well do something that you enjoy in the process, you know what I mean? Have you ever questioned your gender? Yes. I've questioned it in the way that I think everyone should, you know, look at themselves and ask, how do I want to look, act, be, or present myself? And the final conclusion that I came to was that I'm very comfortable with the way that I am. I like the way that I look, I like my name, I like how I present myself to the world. Sometimes I just like wearing a t-shirt that doesn't have a middle bit. Ultimately, I think my personal response to the concept of, you know, changing my gender or pronouns was ultimately, yeah, that's gonna be a lot of paperwork that I really don't wanna do. And given that was my first response, I think I'm pretty comfortable saying that I'm good. I'm good being cis the way that I am. So I think that's probably going to be it for me for now. I got a whole bunch of other questions from other people, which I might sort of keep on the back burner for another video down the line. But yeah, thank you all so much for your continued support, for watching my videos, for, you know, enjoying the weird little shorts that I put out, and yeah. Also, brush your teeth. I had like 3 fillings this week, and that fucking sucked.